Hi, this is Joe again with another review. And for the sake of this video, I'm going to be doing a review of this. I'm doing this video on what is called Black Friday, which is the biggest shopping day of the year. I'm going to do a review of what happened yesterday, which was, of course, the 2015 Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And of course, this year's parade was the 89th parade for Macy's, which of course is the biggest, one of the most famous department stores, not only in New York, well, mainly in New York City, but also around the world. It became famous for the movie I previously reviewed, which was Miracle on 34th Street. Made not only the parade more famous than it was, but also made the store more famous. And the store is kind of like a New York landmark now. Uh, of course, Macy's, like a lot of department stores, is having financial trouble because no people going to the stores anymore. We prefer shopping online, and of course, when you go to the stores are empty. Uh, Not this weekend, but people are crowded because of tourists and stuff. Anyway, for the parade, originally the parade was actually called the Macy's Christmas Parade. And because the parade was on Thanksgiving Day instead of on Christmas Day, they decided to rename it the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. And of course, the parade was canceled for a couple of years because of World War II back in the 40s. And like I said earlier, the parade became famous for the 1947 film Miracle on 34th Street because they actually shot footage of the 1946 Thanksgiving Day parade because the movie came out in June of 47. So the closest parade they had was the 46 parade, and they filmed Edwin Gwynn, who played Santa Kris Kringle, on the Santa Claus float. And so, and of course, the scene where you see him standing on top of a little platform saying, "You get toys of all kinds at Macy's," in front of the whole big crowd. That was like if you round the corner from Broadway, on the Broadway side of Macy's, and you go to 34th Street, and that's the first platform that has with Macy's on. That's where Edwin Wood stood. A little bit of trivia. But this year's parade wasn't a very bad parade. You can see over the years various parades or older parades on YouTube. I haven't noticed some of the older parades from the 80s on YouTube. Uh, but this year's parade wasn't all that bad of a parade. It was quite entertaining. The reason why they're giving this parade pretty rave reviews is because of the fact on NBC, which I watched the parade on, they're not overdo it with interviews with every star that appears on the NBC television show. They didn't do it. They didn't do it as much. I think they only had maybe like 2 segments where they actually interview somebody from the NBC show. Because usually the last few years, ever since Matt Lauer, Al Roker, and then originally Katie Couric, and now Savannah Guthrie, been hosting the parade and doing commentary on the parade. They've been overhyping the first hour, the 9 to 10 o'clock hour. That's about every segment, the beginning and the end of almost every segment, they interview somebody from the NBC show. Like somebody from, originally it was like from Third Watch or Quincy John, back in the early 2000s, to now shows like Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago, and surprisingly they didn't interview anybody from Chicago Med, which is the newest show. This came on. This had 2 episodes on it, and I might do a review of that one sometime down the line, but not right now. But they only did like 2 shows. I think for Blind Spot, Blind Spot, which is about this one with the woman with all the tattoos all over her body, and it's lost her memory and all that stuff, and another show they did. But every segment at the beginning of the show, they did segment interview after interview of all the stars of NBC. And this year, I guess maybe because I don't know how many of them saw my video for the 2014 parade, because maybe that had an effect on them overdoing it with the interviews with the stars from NBC shows. But anyway, the show this year's parade, the 2015 parade, did open up with a great beginning, and this had been one of the best beginnings I've seen on a Thanksgiving Day parade in a really long time. And they had the cast of a new Broadway show called On Your Feet, which is about the story of uh, the, the great Grammy-winning singer Gloria Estefan. And the girl was supposed to be the actress, or the young actress, supposed to be Gloria Estefan. Looks almost like looks like a teenage version of Gloria Estefan. And she was really great, and she was really hot, smoking hot. And they did song after song after song for Gloria Estefan in the beginning, in the first 5 minutes of the show, of the broadcast, which was really terrific. And they also did shows from Fiddler on the Roof. They did a couple of other shows, and they took longer than most of the segments that they had in the first hour. So that took up time they didn't have on interviewing every star of NBC, which was also terrific. Because the more time they took up with the Broadway shows, the less time they had doing these annoying interviews, or these annoying stuck-up interviews with all these stars from the NBC shows, which was all kind of like, and I like as well. And of course, for the floats itself, of course, if you look at the older parades that's on YouTube, you see what the old route was for the parade, and they changed the route in the last few years because of these stupid pedestrian walkways that they have in Times Square and in Howard Square, where Macy's is. Uh, the original route that's been there for like decades was the parade kicked off at 77th Street in Central Park West, went down Central Park West, hooked around Columbus Circle, and then went straight down Broadway through uh, Times Square and continued down Broadway to 34th Street. Now, instead of doing that, it goes to 6th Avenue, hangs around uh, Columbus Circle to 6th Avenue, and went straight down 6th Avenue to Macy's, and then makes a turn. Uh, when and so the television cameras, instead of focusing the cameras coming down 6th Avenue, they had all the cameras down on 34th Street. Instead of being on Broadway. Because they have all the floats coming on Broadway, and they make a turn around 34th Street to 34th Street in Macy's. And that's where the parade ended, on the other side on the 34th Street in Macy's. But when they had the cameras focused on Broadway, instead of on the 34th Street side of the store, you saw where all the floats are coming from. You see what's way off in the distance, what floats are coming. You can, to a certain extent, in the way they have it now, but not to the extent of what they had on the original route. Because in Times Square, you have a pedestrian walkway, and that's where the parade used to go through. It goes through that walkway. Where the pedestrian walkway is now, that's where it used to go down. And the same thing in Howard Square, they all have another pedestrian walkway in front of Macy's. So that takes away from where the parade could go. Because they have the streets blocked off, and they don't want to keep taking the concrete blocks out and all that stuff. So they that ruins it. Fuck you, Michael Bloomberg. Because it was his idea to do all that stuff. But for the parade itself, it was very, very good. The bands, of course, to newer floats, some of the newer balloons. But I do wish they should bring back some of the older balloons that I grew up with. Because I think now, because they had, I think back in the early 2000s, they had a serious accident with one of the balloons, the cat and a half balloon. It was a very windy day in New York for that particular year, and the balloon hit a lamppost and tracked the lamppost, and the lamppost hit a woman in the head, and she was in the coma for months. Because of that, they changed the rules for the size of the balloons. But I would like to see some of the older balloons, and you can see some of the older balloons back in the early 80s, those parades that's on YouTube. And back when I was a kid during the 70s and 80s, we used to have just 10 balloons of the big character balloons. Now you have like about 16 or 17 balloons now, which is like almost double the amount of balloons that we have. Because they used to have more marching bands, and they used to have more floats. I think they used to have more of the marching bands and the floats than they had the actual character balloons, because you only had like 10 of them. But now you have more and more character balloons. But I wish there would bring back some of them, like Underdog or Bullwinkle or uh, Olive Oil, from the popular cartoons with regular year. Some of these older balloons they used to watch when I was a kid, they don't have anymore. They also used to have, this year for the first time in a long time, they didn't have a superhero balloon. They used to have Spider-Man for the last couple of years because of the movies, I guess, and because they don't have any more movies to hype. They didn't have the Superman balloon, or the Spider-Man balloon anymore. And they also didn't have Superman anymore. And I mean, they didn't have Superman, but in 1988, and you can see this parade on YouTube, by the way, the 1988 parade, and the Superman balloon broke, you had the regular Yan balloon broke, you had the Oliver balloon broke, um, you had balloon after balloon after balloon, and a breaking that particular year, because it was also a pretty windy year. And so you didn't have Superman anymore after 1988, which is a shame. You also didn't have the Gwyffer balloon, you didn't have Grover, and for Sesame Street you didn't have Kermit the Frog anymore. Especially you didn't have Kermit the Frog because the new Muppet Show was on ABC. Um, but in terms of the balloons, I mean, I think it's always a big attractor for anybody. And of course, this year for Macy's, in case you don't know, the holiday stuffed animal they're giving out this year, or they're selling this year, is Snoopy. Because the Macy's, or the main Macy's store in Manhattan, in New York City, has on the 34th, on the Broadway side of the store, we're gonna have Snoopy Peanuts characters in the Macy's window this year. They're doing that because the 50th anniversary of the Charlie Brown Christmas, which I previously did a review on, and they're giving out for the fifth time. They're selling Snoopy, and then like the fifth time they're doing it. First 2 years was like 87 and 88, and I happen to have the 1987 Snoopy. Because I bought it because I wanted to get it because it was the first one they did as a promotion. And they did one in 1988, and they did one in, I think it was like 99 or 2000, they had Snoopy again. And then in 2006, it was the last time they had Snoopy, or selling Snoopy. And then like the fifth year. Very, very close second. For the fourth year, they're giving out the Affleck Duck. But that's the fourth year. They're doing the Affleck Duck. But Snoopy is still the king in Macy's as the holiday plush toy. And you can order it online, or if you go to your local Macy's and you can get it. But I always was a big fan of Snoopy, so still a big fan. No, I'm 44 years old. I'm still a fan of the peanut stores. They had the peanut store. They had they still have the Pokemon, which is now the longest running, currently running balloon in the parade in consecutive years. And Snoopy is like the oldest continuous character they use in the parade. He's been in almost every parade since 1968. So that's the oldest continuously used cartoon character. Because there was a couple of years when the Snoopy balloon broke and they didn't use them. Most notably in 1989. But the 2015 parade was a very, very good parade. And I do wish most of you would get a chance to see it. If you didn't see it yesterday, so you can get it on YouTube or wherever and see the 2015 parade. Because it is a very, very good one this year. Except I have one beef to talk about. When they had the Snoopy balloon, Matt Lauer called Snoopy a mutt. Snoopy is not a mutt. He is a beagle, not a mutt. So Matt Lauer, if you happen to see this video, next time, do not call Snoopy a mutt. He is a beagle, you schmuck. And also another thing that I'm surprised that they didn't, I guess they didn't want to have any controversy with the parade. I'm surprised that nobody brought up to Al Roker, hey Al, did you get a cab when coming down from 77th Street to 34th Street? Of course, those of you who don't know the story, Al Roker, of course, the famous weatherman from the Today Show, he was with his son in Manhattan trying to get a cab, and this one particular cab driver passed him by, and down the block, picked up a white driver. And so, of course, to stick it to Al Roker because they, hey, Al, did you get a cab when you're coming down here? They could have done that. Or rag on for it. For some reason, they didn't do it. Uh, but they didn't do it this time, so whatever. But I guess because they don't want to bring up a controversial subject. Like I think I mentioned in my 2014 parade review about what happened in 1989 with Deborah Norville, who's now the host of Inside Edition. She was the co-host of the Today Show with Willis Scott, and that was the famous year when it snowed. And you could check out at least a part of the parade on YouTube, as well, the 1989 parade, but you're not going to see this clip. This clip is not on YouTube, unfortunately. They had a reporter from Good Day New York, with Dick Oliver, who was at 77th Street and Central Park West, where the parade kicks off, and he saw Aaron sing Deborah Norville and went and tried to get an interview with her. And that time, Good Day New York was telling the Today Show in the meetings. And he says to her, hey, hi Deborah Norville, how you doing? And I said, oh, I'm Dick Oliver. I said, oh, where are you from? I said, oh, I'm from Good Day. I'm Dick Oliver from Good Day New York. And I said, oh, you're from Good Day New York? I said, yeah. I said, well, Good Day New York. She ever seen Good Day New York, and she was this close. Literally this close to getting fired. The Today Show, because she had the nerve to say Good Day New York. So the next couple of years, they didn't have a reporter at the starting point parade because of that incident. And then, of course, when Deborah Noble left, that's when they had someone else up there. But for a few years, he didn't have any. Until when Al Roker came in, he didn't have anybody at 77th Street and Central Park West for a few years because of that incident, trying to avoid the Good Day New York people. I know I'm on a no tangent. I can't believe I'm talking this long about the 2015 parade. But this year's parade, I'll give it a positive review this time because it didn't have, only because it didn't have the annoying interviews of people who saw on every other show on NBC. That's why I give it more positive review than I have in previous years. So that's my review of the 2015 Thanksgiving Day Parade. Please click on the video, please rate it. Feel free to comment on it. Please subscribe to my channel. And please forward this video onto your Facebook pages. And you can catch all my videos not only on my YouTube channel, but also at rowdyc.com. That's all WDY, C.com. That's the homepage of the Rowdy Reviewer. Check out all of his content, not just my videos. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.